everyone, my name is Ansley, and I'd like to share with you the story behind Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. The play takes place in Athens. There's just been a battle between Theseus, the Duke of Athens, and Hippolyta, Queen of the Amazons, a tribe of warrior women. Theseus won, and he's taken Hippolyta back to Athens to be his bride. The play opens there schmoozing and romancing, but they're interrupted by an angry father, Aegeus. And Aegeus is angry because he wants his daughter, Hermia, to marry Demetrius, his choice. But Hermia is in love with Lysander, her choice, and he loves her too. And Aegeus says, "Look, Theseus, I've decided that either she marries my choice, Demetrius, or she should be put to death, which is the law here in Athens." And Theseus says, "My goodness, those are terrible choices. I'll add a third. You could also become a nun if you want to live single for the rest of your life. You have to decide, dear little Hermia, before our wedding day. I'm sorry, that's the law." And Aegeus is pretty happy with that, so he leaves with Demetrius. And Hermia is not happy about that. She starts to cry. How can we ever get out of this? And Lysander says, "Look, honey, don't worry. I have a great idea. Let's run away from Athens. We'll go to my aunt's house. She lives in the next town over. We can get married there, far away from Athens." And she says, "Oh, I love that idea, and I love you." And in comes Hermia's best friend, Helena. And Helena says, "Oh, you guys are so cute together. I wish that Demetrius liked me. I'm so in love with him." And Hermia says, "Don't worry, bestie, because me and Lysander are going to run away together. Demetrius will never see me again. Good luck." And they run off. And Helena says, I bet if I told Demetrius that Hermia was running away with Lysander, he would think that was pretty cool of me and he might pay a little more attention to me. I'm going to tell Demetrius that they're running away together." So she runs to find Demetrius. In another part of Athens, you have the mechanicals. They're like the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker of the town. And they are preparing a play for Theseus's wedding. Not because they're actors, but because there is a reward for whoever puts on the best play. So they're trying to cast it. Bottom keeps saying, "Oh, I can play this, I can play that, I can play all the parts." And Peter Quinn says, No. You are going to play this part, and you're that part, and you're that part. Now, let's meet in the woods to rehearse, because if we meet here in the city, we are going to get spied on, and people are going to try to copy our play. Let's meet in the woods. "Oh, yeah, good idea. Let's meet in the woods." So they run off into the forest to rehearse their play. Now, who lives in the forest but the fairies? There's Oberon, the king of the fairies, and Titania, the beautiful queen of the fairies. But they've been having a fight. They each think the other one has been having an affair and cheating on them. And so the whole world is in chaos. There's tsunamis and thunderstorms and tornadoes because these two are arguing. Titania has also adopted a little changeling boy, a little human boy that she is taking care of. And Oberon wants the boy. And she says, "Look, forget it. Forget you. He's mine." And she flies away. Now, Oberon does not like being talked to this way. He is the king of the fairies. And he calls his servant to him, Puck. Puck is this little mischievous guy. And he says, "Puck, I know a flower where if you put the love juice on someone's eyes when they're sleeping, when they wake up, they will fall madly in love with the first person or creature that they see. Go get that flower and bring it back to me. I'm going to play a trick on Titania." And while he's thinking, he hears somebody coming and he steps back into the shadows. And who's coming but Demetrius and Helena? And Demetrius is looking for Hermia. And he says, "Where are they? You told me they were in the wood." And she says, "Oh, you're so cute and you're so strong. And why don't you just look at me for 1 minute?" And he's like, "No, you are so ugly and disgusting and I never want to see you. I hope you get eaten by a wild bear." And he runs off. And Helena says, "Well, just being close to you is better than nothing." And she runs after Demetrius. And Oberon feels sorry for her. And he says, "Look, I'm going to have a little extra love juice. Don't worry about it. I'm going to put that on that guy's eyes so that when you two leave this forest, he's going to love you too." And in flies Puck with the love juice. And he says, I got it. Here it is." And Oberon says, "Thank you so much. I'm going to put some on Titania's eyes. But you take some of it, Puck. And when you find 2 Athenians, there'll be a man and a woman from Athens, put some of that juice on his eyes. They won't be sleeping close to each other because he doesn't love her. So put some on his eyes so when he wakes up, he'll fall in love with the woman." And Puck says, "Oh yeah, okay, I got it. Okay, bye." And he goes off to find them. And Oberon waits for Titania. Now, In flies Titania, oh, la 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 la, with her little changeling boy, and the fairies sing her to sleep, and she falls asleep. And Oberon sails in, and he puts the love juice on her eyes while she's sleeping, and he says, I hope you wake up when some horrible creature is near. And he leaves, and we're going to leave her sleeping here. The next two people to come in are Hermia and Lysander, and they're pretty happy because they're going to the next town to get married, but they're getting tired, so they're going to stop and sleep for the night. And Hermia says, I'm going to sleep over here because we're not married yet, and Lysander, you sleep over there. Mwah. Good night, honey, I love you. Good night, darling, I love you. And they fall asleep. Now in sails Puck, and he's like, oh, well, this must be the two Athenians that my master told me to put the love juice on because they're not sleeping next to each other. And so he puts the love juice on Lysander's eyes, and he skips off because he thinks he's done the right thing. And Lysander is sleeping on the stage. Now, the next people to come running in are Demetrius and Helena running after him, and Demetrius runs off. And Helena says, oh my gosh, I'm so tired, I can't go on. Oh my gosh, who's this? And she trips over Lysander and says, oh my goodness, are you dead? What's going on? Lysander, wake up, wake up. And he wakes up. Oh, Helena, you are looking good. Because he has the love juice on his eyes. And he falls in love with Helena. And she says, whoa, 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 you're supposed to be in love with Hermia. And he says, no, 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 no. It's you I'm in love with. And she says, whoa, my goodness, get away from me. And he runs after her. And little Hermia wakes up. Oh, and she says, oh my goodness, I had the worst nightmare. I dreamt I was being eaten by a snake. And Lysander, you just lay there and you didn't do anything to save me. Lysander, where are you? And she realizes she's all alone. She says, Lysander, I'm going to find you. And she runs off. In come the mechanicals to rehearse their play in the woods. Bottom goes behind a bush to get ready for his entrance. And Puck sees these guys and he's like, what are you doing coming so close to the fairy queen? I have an idea. I'm going to put a donkey head on this guy because he's pretty funny. And I bet the fairy queen will fall in love with him when she opens her eyes. So Bottom comes in, ready for his entrance. Ha, 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 ha. And the mechanicals see him and they go, ah, we're haunted. The forest is full of spirits. Ah, and they run back to Athens. Bottom doesn't know what's going on and he starts singing because he thinks this is some joke. They're trying to get me to be afraid. I'm not afraid. So he starts singing really loud in the forest. And, Titania hears him and she says, are you a god or an angel? I love you. And Bottom goes, well, hello, miss, you're very beautiful. And she says, oh, why don't you come with me and I'll give you fairies to take care of you and I'll feed you good things to eat. You won't have to work again ever in your life. And he says, oh, okay, that sounds good. Woo! And she whisks him away. Oberon is waiting to hear what has happened to his fairy queen, Titania. And in comes Puck. And he says, guess what? I did it. Titania fell in love with a donkey. Woo! And Oberon says, oh, that was perfect. Well done. Revenge is sweet. But Puck, did you also put the love juice on that Athenian? And he says, oh, yeah, I did it. I got it. Here they come. And Oberon says, wait a minute. I don't think these are the right people. And in come Demetrius, and Hermia is after him. And she says, where is Lysander? Did you kill him? And Demetrius says, whoa, no, I didn't. I didn't kill him. I wish I did, but I didn't kill him. And she says, oh, you disgust me. I'm running off to find Lysander, and I never want to see you again. And she storms off. And Demetrius says, well, there's no following her in the middle of the night. I'm gonna lay down and take a rest, and when I feel better, I'll chase after her. And he falls asleep. And Oberon says, Puck, what did you do? You put the love juice on the wrong guy's eyes. Go get the other guys. I'm going to put love juice on this guy. We got to fix this thing. So Puck runs off to find the other lovers. And Oberon puts some love juice on Demetrius's eyes. So Demetrius is laying there asleep. And in comes Helena, followed by Lysander. And Lysander saying, oh, Helena, I love you. You're a goddess. You're so beautiful. And she says, whoa. You're supposed to be in love with my best friend. What are you doing? And she trips over Demetrius. And Demetrius wakes up and he says, wow, Helena, you're looking fine tonight. And Helena says, wait a minute. What is this? You two are supposed to be in love with Hermia. And now suddenly you're in love with me. Are you playing a mean trick on me? And in that moment, in runs Hermia, and she says, oh, Lysander, I heard your voice. Oh, I love you. Why did you leave me alone in the woods? And Lysander says, because I never want to see you again. Because I am in love with Helena now. And Hermia says, Oh, I see what happened, Helena. You stole my boyfriend from me. And Helena says, what are you talking about? You made your two boyfriends pretend to be in love with me to make fun of me. Ah! And they have a little cat fight. Ah! And they run off into the woods, cat fighting. And Demetrius and Lysander turn to each other and they say, let's have a duel for the love of Helena. Come with me. And they march off to have a duel. And Puck thinks this is hysterical. And Oberon says, look, we got to fix this. Make a fog so they can't see each other. Nobody gets hurt. We got to sort this out. So they put fog. The lovers can't see what's happening. And everybody comes in individually and falls asleep. And they put the love juice on Demetrius's eye. So when he wakes up, he'll fall in love with Helena. And they put the love juice on Lysander's eye so that when he wakes up, he'll fall back in love with Hermia. Whew! That was a mess. So in comes the fairy queen, and she's schmoozing it up with Bottom and loving him and putting flowers in his hair, and they fall asleep, snuggled up together. In comes Oberon, and he feels a little bad for what he's done, making his wife fall in love with a donkey. So he puts the love juice on her eyes to undo the spell. We're going to leave Bottom sleeping, and he tells Puck, take off this donkey head. And Titania wakes up, and she says, oh my goodness, I had such a funny dream. I thought I was in love with a donkey. And Oberon says, well, don't think about that too much, honey. Let's get out of here. And they fly off together. So Puck comes, and he takes off the head of Bottom, and they leave him sleeping on the stage. Now in comes Theseus, and Hippolyta. They're out hunting on the morning of their wedding, and Aegeus is with them too. And they stumble upon 4 people asleep in the woods. Hermia and Lysander and Helena and Demetrius. And they say, wake them up. Isn't this the day that Hermia has to decide who she's going to marry? And they wake up all the lovers and they say, well, what do you have to say for yourself, kids, out here sleeping in the woods? And Demetrius says, look, I'm so sorry. I don't know what's happened. I've changed in some way, and I don't love Hermia anymore. I love Helena, and I want to marry her. And Theseus says, look, everybody, I love love. Let's have a triple wedding back in Athens. Aegeus, I'm going to overrule you today. I'm the Duke, and I'm getting married. Let's have a wedding. So they all run back to Athens to have a triple wedding. Now, Bottom wakes up. He's feeling okay. He's like, oh, wow, I had a weird dream. I thought I had I don't know what, and I thought there was I don't know who. Whoa, today's the day of the play. I gotta get going. And he runs back to Athens. And back in Athens, his buddies are feeling pretty bad. We can't do the play without Bottom. If he doesn't show up, we're never gonna get the reward. And in comes Bottom, and he says, look, guys, I'm back. Let's go do this play. Let's win it. So they run to the palace to do the play. There's a big wedding. There's a huge party. Everybody's having a great time. The mechanicals perform their play, which is hysterical and ridiculous because they're not actors. It's a play within the play. And Theseus says, all right, everybody, it's been so fun. Let's all go to sleep and have our wedding nights. So all the lovers go to bed, and in come the fairies to bless the house. And they sprinkle fairy dust all around, and they say, let these lovers have a long and happy life together. And that is how the play ends. The end.